Hey, what is up, guys, and welcome back to the FCS Football channel. And today we are back with another match preview. This time for Manchester United versus Chelsea, of course, in the Premier League. Before we get into the preview, watch along. Get the details written down. So, obviously, the stream starts at 5 o'clock with kickoff at 5:30 tomorrow. So, be there or be square, essentially. But let's get into the actual preview. Where does Manchester United sit in the Premier League table? You may be asking yourself. Well, we sit in fifth, 19 points from an available 30. Not great, not terrible, but most of those did come in those first two games of the season, which were pretty horrific. Brighton and Brentford, obviously, we've dropped 11 points, 6 right at the start of the season. It's not the end of the world, but it's not ideal. Chelsea, who haven't really been spoken about having a poor season or kind of been spoken badly about this season, are only 1 point above us in fourth with 20 points from 30 available. So for all that we were kind of lambasted for our starts of the season, how we've been really poor, we're still right in amongst it alongside the likes of Chelsea. Tottenham are only 4 points clear with a game in hand. So we're in a good position still. And obviously we come into this game in good form, having beaten Tottenham 2-0 in our last game. And what was probably our best game in multiple years. Like, we were unbelievable. It was most certainly the best game we've had under Erik ten Hag. And for me, it was the best game we've played since maybe the first game, since that Cardiff game against, with Ollie, when we beat them like 5-0, was it? Or, wow, it's been a while at least. Like, what a performance from Manchester United. We just suffocated Spurs throughout the game, and they had absolutely nothing to show, to kind of show for themselves. They had very little to no kind of shots on goal, no clear chances, while United had a handful. And I think what is really telling and damning of Spurs is Hugo Lloris made 5 or 6 wonder saves, and it still finished 2-0 Manchester United. If a goalkeeper's making 5 wonder saves, you should be winning the game, essentially, to me, because you shouldn't be giving away that many opportunities, especially when you are Spurs and you are aiming to be competing for the likes, with the likes of Arsenal for the not just the Champions League spots, but given the way the league table currently sits, the Premier League as well. And a performance like they showed last time out is not going to get them that. That being said, there was obviously one major talking point of the game, and it was a real shame that he stole the kind of the limelight in a way, and that is obviously Cristiano Ronaldo. And look, it was an unbelievable game for Manchester United, and for it to kind of be tarnished by Cristiano Ronaldo and his childish behaviour is a real shame. Obviously, he walked out early. Erik ten Hag was asked in his presser today in regards about Cristiano Ronaldo. Did he refuse to come on? And Erik ten Hag was completely straight and honest and said yes, he did refuse to come on. He left early, and it's disgraceful. And he's come out on Instagram today. I think it was today, or was it yesterday? Sorry, it was yesterday, and put this message out. And I'll read it now. As I've always done throughout my career, I try to live and play respectfully towards my colleagues, my adversaries and my coaches. That hasn't changed. I haven't changed. I'm the same person and the same professional that I've been for the last 20 years playing elite football, and respect has always played an important role in my decision-making process. I started very young. I started very young. The older and most experienced players, examples were always very important to me. Therefore, later on, I've always tried to set the example myself for the youngsters that grow into the teams that I've always represented. Unfortunately, that's not always possible, and sometimes the heat of the moment gets the best of us. Right now, I feel that I have to keep working hard in Carrington, support my teammates, and be ready for everything in any given game. Giving in this pressure is not an option. Never was. This is Manchester United, and United we must stand. We soon will be together again. Now, it's a lovely message. However, it just feels empty. It doesn't feel like he means it. It feels like I just said, empty. Like he hasn't apologized, has he? I mean, like I said, like I've just read the message. He hasn't apologized for walking out. He hasn't said kind of it was the wrong thing to do. Like, clearly you can't have that much kind of guilt, and he can't feel that bad about it if he hasn't even apologized for doing it. So it's just it just feels empty to me. And look, I mean, I've been pretty clear and vocal about I don't think Cristiano Ronaldo is needed at this football club anymore. I don't think he's a first team player for us anymore. He wants to go. United need to sell him. United want to sell him, and the only issue is nobody wants Cristiano Ronaldo anymore because he's not that good, and we've seen that before. At least beforehand, you could say, look, he might not be the player he once was. However, he is a role model. He's a professional. He is somebody that will always give his all. Will be a role model to the younger players, but with acts like this today, he's proving that he's not even that anymore. And as such, I think shipping him will be so difficult come January, come the summer. Because I don't think anyone will want him because he's too much of a pain in the arse, essentially. Of course, since we do know Erik ten Hag has banished Cristiano Ronaldo to the under-21s, or actually, I believe he might even be training on his own for the next 4 or 5 days until after the Chelsea game, and he will not be in the squad for the Chelsea game. So that's what we already know about Cristiano Ronaldo. What happens after that, we're not sure. I get the same kind of feeling as Mikel Arteta and Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, where obviously Erik ten Hag and Arteta in the press were very kind of adamant that they have futures at the club and this isn't the end for them. However, we never saw Aubameyang again, did we? And I wouldn't be surprised if it's the same with Cristiano Ronaldo, to be honest. Especially if you look at his time at Ajax. Ten Hag had Younes or something like that. He refused to come on in a game, obviously at Ajax. 6 months later, he was shipped off to Ajax without playing a minute of football again for Ajax. So, Ten Hag has experience with dealing with these sorts of situations. And it didn't go well for that player. We'll have to wait and find out what happens with Cristiano Ronaldo. But it is also important to remember, this isn't the first time Ronaldo's done this. He did also leave against after the Rayo Vallecano game early. So, that was in pre-season. So we'll have to wait and find out how it's handled, but it's not looking good for Cristiano Ronaldo. Moving on into team news, obviously we first look at Chelsea. They've got a couple of players out: N'Golo Kante, Conor Gallagher, Wesley Fofana, and Reece James. Now Conor Gallagher is a doubt. He has got an illness, so he could be available. I imagine he'll probably be on the subs bench, available to come on if and when Chelsea need him. However, N'Golo Kante, Wesley Fofana, and Reece James are all definitely out for this game. And they're all going to be big misses for Chelsea, to be fair. They're all important first-team players, especially Reece James and N'Golo Kante. I think Graham Potter's side will miss them. That being said, what team are we likely to see from Chelsea today? Well, we expect to see a 3-4-3. That's what Thomas Tuchel played, and that's what largely Graham Potter's played at Chelsea. Obviously, they have mixed and matched the system here and there, given injury problems and stuff. They've gone to a 4 at times. However, I do think it will be a 3 at the back with Kepa in goal. Mendy got injured. Kepa came in and he's been fantastic and has been an ever-present in that team's since. So I think Kepa Arrizabalaga will start. A back three will be Cesar Azpilicueta, Thiago Silva, and Koulibaly. We could see Trevor Chalobah, but I do imagine it will be Thiago Silva, Azpilicueta, and Koulibaly. Right wing back, we will likely see Ruben Loftus-Cheek, who's done very, very well there. And left wing back, we'll either see Ben Chilwell or Marc Cucurella. What we could also see is potentially Cucurella play as part of that back three with Ben Chilwell at left wing back, and potentially maybe a Cesar Azpilicueta playing maybe as a right wing back or maybe being benched. That was something we'll have to wait and find out, but I imagine we'll probably see Loftus-Cheek on the right, Cucurella on the left, Ben Chilwell on the bench. Mateo Kovacic and Jorginho as a midfield double pivot, with a front three of Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang will probably lead the line, with Mason Mount and either Raheem Sterling and Mason Mount will definitely play. So Sterling or Havertz will probably play alongside Aubameyang, and Havertz, we'll have to just kind of wait and find out which one. I imagine we'll probably see Kai Havertz on the bench. Havertz or Aubameyang on the bench, I'd imagine. So what are the injuries for Chelsea? So as you can see up there, N'Golo Kante is out. So Fofana and Reece James. They are all definitely out. And Conor Gallagher is a big doubt. Yeah, he's not definitely out, Gallagher. But he is very much a doubt for the game. Chances are we'll see him on the bench. And he may be able to come on. I guess similar to what we saw from Christian Eriksen against Spurs. United do have some injuries, and we were just about to get to them. So for United, we do have 4 players out. Donny van der Beek, it looks like he might be available for the bench, so that's why we haven't included him. Wan-Bissaka and Harry Maguire are back in training, so it's good news that they're back in training, because especially with Wan-Bissaka, Diogo Dalot, while he's been great, he hasn't had any sort of kind of competition, and so now we have Wan-Bissaka back. While I don't expect to see Wan-Bissaka loads, and I don't expect him to dislodge Diogo Dalot, it's good to have a bit of competition back in that team, and that can only bring better performances from the likes of Diogo Dalot. Anthony Martial is still out with a back injury, and he's definitely still out for this game, so he won't be in the squad. Cristiano Ronaldo, as we discussed yesterday and a little bit earlier on, Ronaldo is suspended for this game by the club for leaving the Tottenham game early and refusing to come on as a sub. So he is out for the game. And Harry Maguire, he's in training. I don't imagine we'll see him as part of the matchday squad, given the form of Rafael Varane, Lisandro Martinez and Victor Lindelof. So I imagine he'll be at the game just watching, as he has been throughout his time injured. But I don't believe he will feature in the game today. Will that up our chances? So more or less, there's nothing new when it comes to injuries. Like I said, Donny van der Beek is back on the back training, and he might be able to be in the squad. I don't think he'll play. So it's essentially going to be the same team that we saw against Spurs. However, some good news is Christian Eriksen. Now, we saw Christian Eriksen did come on against Spurs. Obviously, he started on the bench. That was because he hadn't fully kind of recovered from his illness, and was only kind of fit enough and well enough to play later in the second half. Obviously, we're nearly 3 or 4 days on since then. I imagine he will be fully fit and will be able to start today, should Erik ten Hag choose to. You're going for 3-2 or 2-1 United win. I'll take either of those. And with that being said, what team do I believe Erik ten Hag will go with? Well, I think he goes with this. And those eager-eyed viewers of the channel will notice this is the exact same team that played against Spurs. And I don't see any reason why you change it. Yeah, Eriksen did play against his former club. I don't see why you change it, really. I don't think Erik ten Hag will change it. I think every single one of those players played well. They all had really good games. And why would you change it? Especially given that fact that both Anthony Martial and Cristiano Ronaldo are both out injured. Are both out of this game. Martial out through injury and Ronaldo out due to disciplinary. I think Ten Hag will stick with this team. I think Ten Hag has shown that he's willing to stick with players that are playing well, as proven by when Casemiro came in. McTominay kept his place for a while, and I see that kind of staying with this team until it plays poorly, until changes need to come. I think they've kind of in a sense earned the right to play this game again, and I wouldn't be mad if Ten Hag stuck with this team. Now, before we get into my team, please do hit that like button below and subscribe if you are new and you haven't already. And please do share the stream as well if you are enjoying it. But my team, I've gone for a very, very similar team. But, as you say there, Tom, I would start Christian Eriksen over Fred. That's the only change I would make. And that's simply because Eriksen has been fantastic since he's come in and he's been great. So, I don't see why bringing Eriksen back in it would be a bad thing. I think Fred played well, but I don't think Fred played well against Newcastle. So one good game, one bad game. I don't think Eriksen particularly had a bad game. I think he suits the way this Manchester United team plays a little bit more. Obviously against Spurs, this is kind of what we saw throughout the game. I change Eriksen for Bruno. So this is kind of what we saw throughout the game with Sancho out there. So it becomes kind of these two pushing on. And it becomes kind of the 3-2-5. Or the 2-3-5, sorry. Which for most of the top clubs in the world play. So you have your two wingers staying nice, high and wide. Your two midfielders, and this is kind of how Arsenal play as well. With Granit Xhaka playing in the Fred role, Odegaard where Bruno Fernandes is, and you have your wingers kind of keeping the width. Your fullbacks being those extra midfielders. But obviously, at times they will get wide and support the wingers getting crosses in on overlaps, and just kind of creating overloads in positions. And obviously you got the triangles everywhere on the pitch. Obviously, like I say, Man City play this, Arsenal play it, and I think when you're playing a kind of a system like this, you have Fred getting into the kind of edge of the box. While he did well against Spurs there, you put Christian Eriksen in there, it's a better team, more creativity. If you do lose a bit of defend, kind of someone that likes to defend a little bit more and loves to run around and kind of put pressure on teams, you do lose that a little bit with Eriksen. However, I think what Eriksen brings to the team, creatively and on the ball, is a lot more valuable, and will let us control the game against a Graham Potter Spurs, Chelsea side that will be very good. Will be very good on the ball. Will press well, and I think Fred is a player that, I mean, Troy Deeney has said it multiple times before that Watford used to target Fred because he can't play one touch. He's always a touch and then he does something. And against a team like Chelsea, against Graham Potter's Chelsea, they will work on that. They'll be pouncing on Fred's first touch every single time. I think by starting Christian Eriksen, you kind of get rid of that sort of danger and you offer someone more creative and somebody more who's able to play between the lines and really be a danger to an opposition in a sense. Your script. Like I said, I imagine for the Chelsea team we'll see Kepa, Azpilicueta, Koulibaly, Silva, Ruben Loftus-Cheek and Cucurella as the wing backs. Jorginho and Kovacic as a midfield two, with Mount, Sterling and Aubameyang or Havertz as a front three in a 3-4-3. But look, just on the game, look, those of you who watched the Premier League preview earlier, I spoke on about how difficult this game is going to be for Manchester United. They are both these two sides are great, and there's no two ways about it. They are two great sides that we're gonna put on a show. It's gonna be a great game for the neutrals. It's about who can take their chances, who can kind of get hold of the game first. Can United kind of silence the crowd? And similarly to what I've said again when we played Liverpool, when we played Man City and Arsenal. Early on in this game, it's not about trying to win it early on. It's about staying in the game. It's about, come the 60th minute, not having lost the game already, like we had against Manchester City. Against Liverpool, against Arsenal, 60th minute, we were in the game. Whether that was because we were winning it or not, is somewhat irrelevant. We were in the game because we were defensively strong. We weren't stupid. We weren't giving away chances. And that's how this game has to be again. Obviously, at times you can be a little bit more expressive and you can commit a few more bodies forward. But in a game like this, you've got to be smart. No silly mistakes. Early on, keep it simple. And that's how you win this game. You keep it simple from the start and you grow into the game. And eventually, if you can get hold of the game, grab it by the scruff of the neck and really take it to Chelsea. Come second half, then brilliant. But to me, a game like this, you don't go and lose the game by trying to win it too soon. You can win a game in the 90th minute. So there's no need to kind of rush trying to do it in the first 20. And as such, then lose the game by conceding 2 or 3 to this Chelsea team and the game being done before it's even kind of begun. Stay in the game, stay competitive, and grow into the game, and then we can go and win this game. I think we can win it. I think we will win it if we play to the standard that we showed against Tottenham. Because that performance against Tottenham was honestly top draw. It was a fantastic performance. And like I say, if we play like that today, we will beat this Chelsea team. And I'm a big fan of Chelsea. I'm a big fan of Graham Potter. But that's just the way I see it at the moment. I'm going for a 2-0. 2-0. Manchester United win. The only 3 that scares me is Aubameyang, Sterling and Mount. To be fair, I think that's the team we might see. If I was Graham Potter, that's probably the starting lineup I would have. But yeah, that is going to be it from me today. If you have enjoyed, please do hit that like button below and subscribe if you are new and you haven't already. That would be greatly appreciated. Like I said, and like it says on my side, we do have a watch along for the game tomorrow. Stream starts at 5. Kickoff is at 5:30. So please do tune in for that. Be there or be square, as they say. But yeah, thank you all for watching. Please do hit that like button below. And subscribe if you're new and you haven't already. That would be greatly appreciated. And I'll see you all in the next one in a bit. Peace.